He is the source of limitless abundance who can transform our small offerings into more than enough to meet. My dear brothers and sisters in Jesus Christ, today's gospel reading we find Jesus and his disciples facing a situation that seemed beyond their resources to cope with. They were faced with a hungry crowd and a little or no means of feeding them. In this situation, different people reacted in different ways. Philip made a calculation on the basis of the number of people and the amount of money available to buy food, and decided that nothing could be done. You could say that this was the reaction of a practical person. The facts are the facts, and on the basis of the facts, these people cannot be helped. We can all find ourselves reacting in that way to demanding situations. We conclude that the number do not add up, and we resign ourselves to doing nothing. Andrew has another reaction to the situation. He recognized that one of the crowds had a small amount of food, but he dismissed these small resources as of no value. This is the reaction of the person who belittles the resources that are there and the efforts that could be made to address the challenging situation. You could say it is the reaction of the pessimist. And again, we can all be prone to that kind of reaction. There were two other reactions in the story that the gospel tells. There is the reaction of the small boy who willingly gave to Jesus the few pieces of food that he had. This is the reaction of the generous person, of the one who is prepared to give all he or she has, even though it appears to be far less than what is needed. Such people are wonderful to have around when challenging times come our way. They do not allow the demanding situation to discourage them. They give all they have to give. Then there is the reaction of Jesus himself. He took the few resources that the young boy was generous enough to part with, and having prayed the prayer of thanksgiving to God over these small pieces of food, he fed the enormous crowd. As a result, everyone had more than enough to eat, and there was even some food left over. St. Paul once made the great discovery that God's power can be made perfect in weakness. 2 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 9. God can work powerfully in and through very weak instruments like Paul himself. In the gospel reading, Jesus works powerfully in and through what were, from a merely human point of view, very weak resources indeed. 5 barley loaves and 2 fish. Jesus took the resources that were given to him, and with them he fed the hunger of the crowd. The practical person Philip and the pessimist Andrew and all the other disciples discovered that impossible became possible in the power and prayer of Jesus. The Lord needs our resources of generosity and giftedness today as much as he needed the 5 barley loaves and the 2 fish of that young boy. If he is to continue to do his work in the world, if he is to continue to feed those who hunger for food, for love, for God. In responding to all these hungers of his people today, the Lord will not bypass our own resources. They may seem very inadequate to us, but to the Lord they are vital. He asks us to give ourselves and our resources generously to him, to place ourselves, all that we have and all that we are, at his disposal. If we do that, we can never underestimate what the Lord can do in our own lives and in the lives of others through us. The miracle of the feeding of the 5,000 highlights Jesus' ability to provide abundance in the face of scarcity. In our lives, when we face moments of scarcity, whether it is physical resources, emotional strength, or spiritual guidance, this passage encourages us to turn to Jesus with faith. He is the source of limitless abundance who can transform our small offerings into more than enough to meet. Amen.